stories of HR.
The stories HR tells itself.
Usually, the 95% retention slide gets the absolute biggest round of applause at the end of your meeting.
Oh, every single time. It's guaranteed.
Right. It's put up on the projector like this big corporate scoreboard. And the unspoken message is like, look how amazing our culture is. Nobody wants to leave us.
Yeah, but if you actually look around the room at the people clapping for that slide, I mean, half of them might be completely checked out.
Oh, totally. They're scrolling on their phones under the table, mentally just miles away.
Exactly.
So today we're unpacking why holding on to every single employee might actually be, well, rotting your company from the inside out. Welcome to the fourth lie of HR.
Glad to be here.
Whether you're, leading a team, analyzing company cultures, or just trying to navigate your own career, this deep dive is going to flip a core workplace assumption completely on its head.
It really is.
This is installment number 4 of our ongoing exploration of the lies of HR, and today's specific target is the myth of retain at all costs.
And it is vital we set the tone right out of the gate here. This isn't about bashing HR or, management in general.
Right, because wanting to keep good people is normal.
Exactly. Wanting to keep talented people is a perfectly reasonable, healthy desire for any organization. The core problem, the lie we are unpacking today, is when a company starts treating a retention metric as the ultimate goal itself.
Completely divorced from the reality of how human beings actually work and grow.
Precisely.
Because that reflects that knee-jerk idea that every single departure is a failure, like a leak in the ship that must be plugged with counteroffers and guilt trips.
It's just fundamentally broken.
It is. Pairing Martin's notes with some very revealing public labor data draws a very revealing picture about why forced retention is so destructive.
Yeah, the data really tells the story here.
But to understand why we panic over turnover in the first place, we kind of have to look at this outdated fairy tale we are all still pretending to believe.
Ah, yes. The lifelong employee.
Right. The era of the 40-year career with a single employer is just dead.
It has been dead for decades. Yet, for some reason, our hiring processes and retention strategies are still stubbornly built around its ghost.
They really are. Companies still demand this bizarre theatrical performance of lifelong loyalty during the interview process.
Oh, the classic, where do you see yourself in 5 years? Question.
Yeah. Yes. You have to sit there in an uncomfortable suit, keeping a straight face, and tell the hiring manager, right here.
Sitting in your chair.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Dedicating my entire existence to this regional paper supply company.
And everyone in that room knows it is pure theater. I mean, the hard data strips that illusion away completely.
What does the data actually say right now?
Well, if we look at the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics from January 2024, the median tenure with an employer has plummeted to just 3.9 years.
Wait, 3.9 years?
Yep. That is the lowest it has been in 2 decades. And it drops even further when you look at younger demographics,
Like the millennials and Gen Z workers.
Exactly. For workers aged 25 to 34, median tenure is under 3 years. It's at 2.7 years to be exact.
Mm-hmm. Okay, let's unpack this, because the cognitive dissonance here is just wild.
It really is.
The data shows that modern employment is essentially a multi-year collaborative project. It's like a tour of duty.
Right. A tour of duty is a great way to put it.
Yet we are managing teams as if they are entering a 50-year marriage, complete with vows of till retirement, do us part.
And what's fascinating here is how that false expectation completely twists a manager's perception of reality.
How so?
Well, when a company pretends a role is a life sentence, turnover starts to feel like an infection, like something that needs to be eradicated.
It triggers a panic response.
Exactly. But in reality, skills shift, ambitions change, the company's needs evolve, and the employee's life evolves.
So turnover is just a natural, predictable part of working life.
Totally.
So if it's natural, what happens when a company tries to unnaturally stop it? Because we've all seen this. A key person puts in their notice, and management just panics.
Oh, they freak out. They bring out the emotional leverage.
The whole, we're a family here rhetoric, the desperate counter-offers. What happens when you force retention like that?
You end up creating a deeply toxic environment, and largely because you are failing to make the vital distinction between what Martin calls regretted and non-regretted turnover.
Okay, I want to break down that terminology because it sounds critical. Regretted versus non-regretted.
Right. So losing a brilliant person who is right on the verge of doing their best work who drives innovation and lifts up the team around them.
Yeah.
That is a genuine wound.
Yeah.
That is regretted turnover, and you should absolutely fight to prevent it.
Makes sense. But what about the other side?
Losing someone who quietly checked out 3 years ago, someone who does the bare minimum, complains the whole time, and drags down morale.
Let me guess, that's non-regretted.
That is a gift.
Yeah.
That is non-regretted turnover. Honestly, the organization should have given itself that gift much sooner.
Okay, let me stop you there and play devil's advocate for a second.
Go for it.
Because if you're a middle manager with a strict budget, the math doesn't seem to support letting anyone walk. I mean, hiring is painfully expensive.
It is. The recruiter fees, the onboarding.
Right. The months of onboarding, the lost productivity, even for the coasters, the people doing the bare minimum, isn't it always cheaper to just keep the devil you know rather than spend thousands of euros training someone brand new?
See, that is the exact trap so many organizations fall into.
Really?
Yes. Because you are only calculating the highly visible, immediate cost of hiring. You are entirely ignoring the massive hidden cost of complacency, which compounds over time.
Ah, the hidden costs.
Yeah. When you hold people in place without bringing in fresh blood, you get severe stagnation. You develop these shared blind spots across the entire team.
Oh, you're talking about the dreaded "we've always done it this way" reflex that sets in.
Exactly. And that reflex kills adaptation right when a company needs it most. Furthermore, we have to look at the psychology of the trapped employee.
Right, because they don't just sit there happily.
No, they don't. People who are stuck in roles they've outgrown or who only stayed because of a guilt trip, they don't magically become more committed.
They become resentful.
Highly resentful. A workforce that cannot leave isn't a loyal workforce. It's a trapped workforce. And trapped people do not do their best work.
No, they do just enough not to get fired. They basically become a drag on the system.
Yep.
So by chasing this single blended retention number, treating a brilliant innovator leaving and a burnt-out coaster leaving as the same negative event, companies are pouring all their energy into clinging to the very people holding the place back.
It is a perfect recipe for internal rot. But, the dangers of forced retention have always been there in the background.
Right.
What Martin's notes highlight next is how the recent economic landscape has twisted this dynamic into a massive hidden crisis.
Oh, you're talking about the 2026 trap.
Yes. The job market from roughly 2024 through 2026 effectively froze.
It really did.
Openings tightened dramatically across the board. The quits rate, which is literally the percentage of the workforce voluntarily leaving their jobs each month, it normalized around a very low 2%.
Oh, meaning the vast majority of people were staying exactly where they were.
Exactly. The incentives to move just vanished.
Right, because the wage premium for job switchers, that big 15 or 20% bump in salary you used to get by jumping to a competitor, that narrowed significantly.
It almost disappeared in some industries. And entire sectors, particularly those heavily disrupted by AI integration, hit historic hiring lows. The door to the upside world just slammed shut.
And here's where it gets really interesting, because this gave rise to a massive trend Martin calls job hugging.
Job hugging, yeah, it's a very descriptive term.
Workers are staying put in a tight market, but that stability comes bundled with rising disengagement.
They're holding onto the job for dear life, but they aren't actually working hard.
Right. If you are managing a team right now, look closely at your steady performers. Are they innovating, or are they just keeping their heads down because they know the market is tight?
And this creates a terrifying illusion for leadership.
Oh, I bet.
I mean, if you are an executive looking at your dashboard in this frozen market, your retention metric looks absolutely incredible.
But it's totally deceptive. It's like a restaurant manager boasting about a packed dining room, pointing to all the people inside as proof that the menu is a massive hit.
Right.
But they are completely ignoring the fact that nobody is actually ordering food. They're just standing inside to hide from a rainstorm.
That is a perfect analogy. And the rainstorm, in this case, is the frozen job market.
Exactly.
People aren't staying because the culture is great or because they feel fulfilled by the mission. They're staying because they literally cannot see a safe way out.
So a beautiful low turnover number in this specific environment is often just a vanity metric hiding a completely checked out workforce.
Yes. You might have a room full of people who would leave tomorrow if the door opened even an inch.
Which brings us to how companies are actually reacting to this visible disengagement, because management isn't blind.
No, they aren't. They can see people aren't working as hard. They can feel the energy draining from the Zoom calls and the office floors.
But instead of fixing the root cause or having honest conversations with people, what do? They turn to technology. They turn to surveillance. The 2026 surveillance boom.
Yeah. This is part of a broader and deeply concerning wave of employee monitoring.
Let's break down how these actually work because it sounds like a digital panopticon.
It kind of is.
These tools aren't just looking at who is explicitly complaining. They're analyzing granular behavioral metadata.
Like how long you take to reply to a Slack message.
Yes. Your keystroke patterns throughout the day, changes in how you schedule your calendar, who you are CCing on emails. All of this data is scraped to predict if you are subtly disengaging and preparing to quit.
Which means they are treating the symptom of disengagement with an algorithm rather than treating the underlying disease.
It's completely backwards.
And this raises an important question, What happens to trust when a company deploys these tools?
It has to evaporate completely. I mean, if I know my employer is analyzing my keystrokes to see if I'm a flight risk, I'm going to feel incredibly violated.
Of course.
Yeah.
Watching people for exit signals while doing absolutely nothing to address the root cause of their unhappiness.
Yeah.
It actively erodes the exact psychological safety that would have kept them in the first place.
It becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy.
Exactly.
Right.
You treat your employees like a flight risk, you monitor them like a flight risk, and so inevitably they become a flight risk. You have destroyed the foundational trust required for them to care about the company's goals.
You're basically building a cage equipped with cameras and then wondering why nobody feels like a family anymore.
That's exactly what it is.
Okay, so we've established that aiming for zero turnover is a trap. Forced retention breeds rot, job-hugging masks, disengagement, and AI surveillance is a massive trust-destroying mistake.
We've laid out all the problems, yes.
So the obvious question is, what is the actual constructive alternative? How do we handle turnover properly?
We need a new playbook, and Martin provides a very clear 5-move playbook for leaders and organizations to navigate this reality constructively.
All right, let's go through them.
Move number 1 is foundational. Stop optimizing for a single number.
Which means separating regretted from non-regretted turnover on your dashboards.
Yeah.
You have to track who is leaving, not just how many.
Exactly. You need to aim to keep the right people, not all of them. Losing your top performers is a critical problem that requires immediate investigation.
But losing the coasters is healthy churn.
It is. You cannot treat a 5% turnover rate as a success if the 5% who left were your most brilliant engineers.
Right. It's like pruning a tree. You have to allow the dead branches to fall away so the healthy ones have the resources to grow.
Good way to look at it. Okay, move number 2. Trade the cage for a launch pad.
A launch pad. What does that mean practically?
We have to stop treating the job as an indefinite life sentence and start treating it as a finite, highly valuable partnership. You mentioned the tour of duty concept earlier, and that is exactly what this is.
Okay.
Establish clear goals, a real time frame, and mutual benefits right from day one.
I have to push back here on how this actually looks in practice, because it sounds incredibly awkward to sit down with a new hire on their very first day and say, "Welcome to the team. I expect you to leave in 3 years."
Well, you wouldn't phrase it quite like that.
But doesn't that immediately kill any sense of long-term loyalty?
It kills the illusion of long-term loyalty, which we've already established as a fairy tale anyway.
Yeah.
What replaces it is genuine mutual investment.
Okay, I'm listening.
You don't have to give them an exact expiration date, but you do have an open conversation. Here is what the company needs from you over the next few years, and here are the skills and resume builders you are going to gain in return.
So it's a real trade.
Yes, you invest heavily in their growth, fully accepting that they will eventually take those skills elsewhere.
But training is so expensive. Why would a company pay to upskill someone knowing they're just going to take those fresh skills straight to a competitor?
Because that specific investment, that genuine care for their trajectory, is exactly what makes them give you their absolute best effort while they are in your building.
Oh, I see.
You get 3 brilliant, highly productive, innovative years out of them, rather than 5 years of mediocre, resentful clock punching. The return on investment for 3 years of high engagement vastly outweighs 5 years of stagnation.
That reframes the math entirely. It makes a lot of sense. Which leads us to move number 3. Make leaving safe and keep your alumni.
This is a big one.
Martin says to ditch the guilt trips, part well, to generate boomerang hires and vital referrals.
Counter-offers and emotional guilt trips are just gilded cages. They breed resentment. A modern organization needs to plan for departures and genuinely celebrate the people who leave to do something great.
Okay, I am going to push back hard on this one too.
I figured you right.
Throwing a going away party. Celebrating someone for basically abandoning the team. Doesn't that send an incredibly dangerous signal to the rest of the staff that they should all be looking for the exit too?
It feels risky, right?
It feels like inviting a virus into the office and showing everyone how great it is to catch it.
It is a very common fear among managers. But if we connect this to the bigger picture, it actually sends the exact opposite message. It signals deep psychological safety.
How does celebrating a resignation create safety for the people staying?
Think about what it telegraphs to your current team. It tells them that leadership is not insecure. It tells them that you value their human career growth over holding them hostage for next quarter's metrics. Ironically, when people feel completely free to leave and they know they will be supported and celebrated if they do, they often want to stay longer. They feel safe to give you their best effort because they aren't hiding their ambitions from you.
It removes all that toxic sneaking around.
Exactly.
No more taking a sudden dentist appointment in the middle of the Tuesday workday just so you can do a Zoom interview in your car.
Precisely. And the long-term benefits are massive. When employees leave on great terms, they become your best external recruiters.
Right. They send their smart friends your way.
They send you top-tier talent. And as the market shifts, they become boomerang hires. They return to your company a few years later, bringing back new skills, fresh perspectives, and higher capabilities that you didn't even have to pay to train them on.
I see the vision now. The alumni network becomes an asset rather than a list of traitors.
Exactly.
All right. Move number 4. Never read retention as they're thriving. We touched on this with the 2026 trap and the job huggers.
It bears repeating, though, especially in any frozen or uncertain market. People staying at their desks is not the same as people being happy or productive.
So if a high retention number is a liar, what is the actual metric? How do you measure if they are thriving?
You must always pair your retention data with qualitative engagement data.
Like what?
Like, are they staying and innovating? Are they staying and actively volunteering to lead new projects? Or are they just staying and logging off at 4:59 p.m. every single day, doing the bare minimum to fly under the radar?
Retention read on its own is no longer a trophy, it's just a head count.
Exactly. Are they in the restaurant actually eating the food, or are they just hiding from the rain?
Spot on. And finally, move number 5. Skip the AI surveillance.
Throw out the flight risk prediction tools. Just stop. Stop trying to predict the symptom of disengagement with an algorithm scraping their calendar invites.
So if I'm a manager and I'm not using a fancy dashboard to tell me who is a flight risk, what is my tool for knowing where my team's head is at?
Your retention tool is fundamentally human. It is giving them work that is actually worth staying for and having honest, vulnerable conversations about their trajectory.
You actually talk to them.
You ask them directly, where do you want to go in your career? How can this current role help you get there? If you want to know if someone is thinking about leaving, you have to build the kind of trust where they will simply sit down and tell you.
So what does this all mean? Let's zoom all the way out and look at everything we've unpacked today.
Let's do it.
We started by looking at that glowing 95% retention slide at the end of the year, the one everyone claps for. And we've basically dismantled the assumption behind it.
We definitely have.
We've seen that the era of lifelong tenure is entirely dead, driven by hard labor data and changing human ambitions. We've seen how trying to force people to stay through guilt or counteroffers rots a company through complacency and stagnation.
Right.
We've explored how a frozen job market creates job hugging, making retention numbers dangerously deceptive. And we've laid out a playbook that swaps out the cage for a launch pad.
It requires a fundamental, sometimes uncomfortable shift in how we view the employer-employee relationship.
The future of work is about being the best possible pit stop in someone's career. You want your company to be the launch pad where they did their absolute best work before they flew off to their next adventure.
Absolutely.
Because if you build that, you will be surrounded by people who actively choose to be there every single day, giving you their best, rather than people who just can't find a way out.
It is a much higher standard to hold yourself to as a leader. It requires more emotional intelligence than simply tracking a head count. But it is the only standard that actually drives long-term performance and innovation.
It really is.
And as we wrap up our analysis of Martin's notes, I want to leave you with one final thought to mull over, a complete shift in perspective.
Let's hear it.
We spend so much time and energy in the corporate world dreading the moment an employee gives their 2 weeks notice. We treat it as a corporate divorce.
We do. We treat it as a failure, a disruption, sometimes even a personal betrayal.
Exactly. But if you stop viewing an employee's departure as a corporate divorce and start treating it like a graduation.
Oh, wow.
How might that fundamentally change the caliber of talent knocking on your door tomorrow?
From divorce to graduation, that completely changes the energy of the room. I mean, just think about how alumni talk about the university they graduated from versus how people talk about their ex-spouses.
The psychology is entirely different.
Yeah.
One framework breeds lifelong advocacy, referrals, and pride. The other framework breeds resentment and burned bridges.
That is a phenomenal reframe and a perfect place to leave it. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive. Next time you see that 95% retention slide pop up in a meeting, I hope you look at it with a fresh, highly critical eye.
Look closely at it.
Look around the room at the people clapping. Are they eating the food, or are they just hiding from the rain?
That's this lie. A new one drops every week. Join the list at liesofhr.com so the next one finds you. See you then.
Lies of HR.
The stories HR tells itself.